Hello, a very good evening to you. Welcome back to EML League 2, the rerun here at the circuit. The Paul Ricard will give this another shot, shall we, after last week's shambles, to say the least. We'll give it another go and hopefully everything will work a-okay this time. My name is Graham and join me tonight, as he was last week, to oversee the nonsense with me. It is Storm Kings.
Good evening. I do apologise. I don't have a cold. Just a bit of a sore throat. But yeah, no, back for League 2, as you said, the rerun. Hopefully no issues and no DSQs and no safety car issues. But whatever happens, hopefully it'll be a good race.
Fingers crossed. Of course, we'll run through. I believe we'll run through the entire event once again. So we'll go through qualifying. The weather, I believe, is also set to random, so we could have different conditions this time around than last. Personally, I am noticing a few more ever since this. Ever since these two updates with Portimao and Imola and Jeddah more so. I've seemed to notice a few more glitches that have cropped up here and there. Like even last night, I was having a race myself, and I encountered a glitch where the yellow flag to continue to stay out after the safety car had gone in. So hopefully we'll see nothing of that sort tonight, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I know since the Jeddah update, nobody can race Jeddah and in league racing because there is multiple issues with it. If you join, I think, the lobby late and you exit the pitch, you get a 10-second penalty. And also there's start and finish line glitches. It's just, I think they are going to bring out an update, but it's just when are they going to bring it out and how quickly can they get it out?
To be fair, the track I was racing on is Portugal, so it does make sense that some of these newer tracks have a few more glitches surrounding them. Of course, we were racing here at France last week and we saw what we saw. So, anywho, hopefully that will be we'll get through cleanly enough. But because this is a different different week, we have a new lineup, so we'll go through that now. There are a few different names here this time than there were last week, and I'll go through them. Again, apologies. Again, feel free to give me a tutorial in the comments if I'm saying your team driver's name wrong. Please, it'll only make our lives easier in the future. So by all means, if it's wrong, please, I will not be hurt if you tell me so. But for Team TTG, we have TTG Francie Fro and TTG Slash. For OWR, we have OWR Got and OWR Christian. For QVR, it is Combi Kermi and Alt Maverick. For BNL Racing Esports, it is BNLRE Dennis and BNLRE Luke. NSR are represented by Pariah and Thomas. ECOS, sorry, wrong one. I think it is ECOS, isn't it? Welsh Maldonado and Paisatron. Sorry, I get confused between Esports Wales Tan and ECOS sometimes. ECOS are represented by ECOS Cameron and ECOS Fost, who I believe is going under the PSN name tonight. Oh, it's disappeared. He's going on a different PSN than that name.
No, they're using a reserve. Cameron couldn't make it, so ECOS Shifters is coming in as a reserve.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just working off of the graphic that was tweeted earlier today. Last minute changes do tend to happen, hence why we're here for another week.
Yeah.
Moving on then, we've got Hecht and CPI Reds for CPI Academy. Terrapaz and Felix 1, they are representing Never Last Racing. And Mr. Pop and Smalley are representing TRT. And that's your lineup.
Well, at least we know one thing that hasn't changed, which is the standings. We ain't got to go through them. This
good
is
grief.
Someone has opened the heavens.
That's very heavy. I'd be surprised see if that's intermediates or full wets. Everyone's at intermediates for the time being. We don't know if that'll get a little further intensify or if it'll ease up towards the end of qualifying, but that is definitely intermediate. So certainly curveball being thrown there. straight away. Before we get into that, before anyone really gets on track, just for the sake of it, I will just run through the top 5 of the standings here, just to catch people up. TTG are on top on 85 points, ahead of Esports Wales TAN on 81 points, NLR on 75 points, OWR 69 points, and TRT on 67. Those are our top 5, and well, straight away you can throw the strategy a little bit more open in the race, and if it's dry in the race, because now, at least, with intermediate conditions, of course, and everyone qualifying on this tyre, people will be free to choose their own tyres to start the race.
Yeah, and I think since this update, I have seen a lot more wet races and wet qualifying sessions. So whatever they've done to that update, they've definitely brought the weather. But it'll be interesting to see if people do improve from what the scheduled race last week was. Because I can't remember who was on. Oh yeah, it was Ference, wasn't it? Ecos Ference. He's now TTG.
He is.
So that's definitely going to throw. I'm just trying to think who was second. Mr. Pop was up there, wasn't he? Because he was the one that lagged and caused the issue. Because it was raining last week, I think, as well. Because it was into dry. Because they had an intermediate quali and then a dry session for the race.
I can barely remember what I did last week, let alone how some of the conditions here. So definitely, that's the thing. Like, it does give some people will be disappointed, of course, with how for many reasons how last week unfolded. But obviously there are some obviously gives some people a chance to make amends for any kind of qualifying issues they had last time out. Although these are much tougher conditions.
Yeah, and I think in the wet, being France, it does just spice it up a bit, especially the long corners and that long straight. Being no DRS enabled under wet conditions, it's just gonna show the drivers more outright pace rather than having an assistance of DRS. But yeah, I think no DRS and the wet conditions, could throw up just a few of the drivers in different positions than they were last week, and maybe it gives a few drivers that were here last week and are back this week, like Mr. Pop, a second jab at the qualifying session.
Yeah, Mr. Pop last week was just under a tenth off a pole. The big one, I think, would be looking to make amends and take advantage of the second chance to be Felix 1, who qualified. He obviously had that accident last time out and qualified at 11. So this is a great chance for him to kind of again right some of the wrongs that occurred in that other session. But that's the thing, the slate's been wiped clean. It's just we just go again.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. We can focus on about last week all we want. Who plays here and who plays there, but this one will officially count. We've got to put last week back. Well, the drivers have got to put it to the back of their minds and just do their thing, and hopefully they can get the result. And it's nice to see Felix 1 has actually got a teammate here this week, or this month, should I say. Smalley has retired. No lap has been set.
Trying to find a car that's close to him. There we go. On board with BNL Luke. And it looks like he's lost it. Just coming on. I saw BNL Luke having some issues on traction, coming 41 flat to start off. I think he just lost it on traction coming out of that corner, just fighting the car. And I'd guess that's where that's how he ended up in the barrier. So that's a big blow for Smalley in the first few minutes of qualifying here.
Yeah, he's been when he has raced in the EML League 2, he has been up there. Spain, he got a podium, I believe. Baku, he didn't race, I think, for TRT. But yeah, that's not going to help TRT, especially in these wet conditions, where some of the drivers may not be as good in the wet as they are in the dry. As NSR Thomas goes with a 140.7, but TTG / even quicker, and he slashes that time with a 139.4. No pun intended.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Oliver Gott goes third, 40.8. So look, Felix won 40.5 there. So quite an advantage for TTG / at the moment. That's 1.1 seconds, but then significantly cut down as Felix's teammate The Repas goes 39.5. The thing about the wet conditions that you're always finding time as you're you build more time on the track, your confidence builds. I often find fueling up for because obviously different situation. The inters will go a few laps compared to like the softs in some regard. I always find it good to fuel the car up, go for a few laps, because your confidence builds each lap as you you navigate the conditions. You learn more about the conditions. You're learning about braking points. You're learning about how soon you can pick up the throttle before the car fights back. So I think we'll see we'll see multiple drivers stay out and continue to drop these times as they grow more and more comfortable with the track and the conditions.
Yeah, and I think also if the track does dry up and the rain does stop, you're going to be seeing obviously the times will drop, but I think a lot of drivers are just getting a feel for the track, because a lot of these won't have done wet practice. They won't have done, because they focus more on the dry. We all do, because we all hope and pray for a dry race, let's say. But also you've got to think of the fact of we don't know what the race weather is going to be. They know the drivers know what it's going to be. So in regards to what you said, maybe filling up the car, if it is going to be a wet race or some parts of the race will be wet, maybe that might not be a good idea, and maybe just do a few laps possible and try and learn the track that way.
The Reapers puts in a 39.1, so even though the rain still continues to pound down, they do seem to be finding time. Ecos Shifters have put in a good lap too, put himself up to third place, 39.5. So he continues to, as in all, I think every driver, obviously bar Smalley, I believe, who obviously is out of the session. Basically, it's basically on track. A couple of people coming in, but again, drivers just trying to find their footing in these difficult conditions. Here's TTG Francie Fro. We'll just go with Francie, gearing himself up to start a lap. Has he just started one? He's got a very low amount of ERS. In the wet conditions, you can get away with running a bit less ERS, and he's gone off the track. They're much easier, of course, to drift out wide in these conditions and validate your lap, as Francie Fro just did there.
Yeah, and I think also in these intermittent weather conditions, if you do brake too late, then you are going to go off track, because the grip of the tyres isn't as what it is in the dry, where the car will just automatically slow down and stop. Once the weather does dry up a little bit, if it does, the drivers can brake a little bit later, and we may just see somebody go even quicker, and TTG/ does go quicker with a 39.0 at the moment, but the track is changing every minute or every second of this qualifying session.
Was a car off somewhere? That was Felix 1 going very, very slowly, just letting some of the traffic go. So a couple of people now coming into the pits to change tyres. You won't lose too much time on your inters if you do 2-3 laps, but eventually comes a point where it's worth about a tenth or so, and you want to just get in and just obviously to continue to be on an optimal tyre. Of course, again, weather wear on the inters, it varies, because obviously you get one inter tyre, so obviously it depends on how much your tyres wear, but generally speaking, they are good for a few laps here. As this is got multiple drivers like Felix 1 here trying their fourth lap in these conditions. We'll go on board with Felix 1, see what he can manage. 40.5, definite scope for improvement there. A few people have been doing hot lap, off lap, and starting on an on lap again here.
Yeah, and I think with this type of track, you can afford to do multiple laps, because there is a lot of runoff area. If it is raining in the race at the start of the race, yeah, turn 1 will be interesting, as we found out last week. But yeah, it's definitely a different grid than we had last week, and definitely people are pushing the limits as well, and I'm seeing a lot of invalidations.
Oh, there's been a lot. Purple sector 2 for Felix. He's 6/10 up on his time, which would take him into the 39s, but would take him only a spot higher at the moment. So how much time can he find in this last sector? A little bit of traffic in front of him. That is OWR Got, or Gotte. Again, feel free to help me out. Tiptoeing. Valid lap though. That's a corner that could easily, we see where Felix is straight over the curve. That's where you could easily end up straying over and validating your lap there. You'll feel very foolish if you do it, but a nice rotation, good turn in there for Felix at low speed. Let's see what this lap does for him then. His teammate is on the front row. Can he join them? Can he just slot in behind him? He's on the second row, 39.5. Found just under a second in that, but that's looking good so far for NLR.
Yeah, and I think obviously we've both seen that Felix has taken the win in Spain and Azerbaijan over the last 2 months. I just wonder, in this qualifying session, he may just not be that adjusted to the wet conditions as what the other drivers are, as his teammate is in P2. So it may just take him a little bit of time just to adjust himself to the wet conditions. But he is a fantastic driver, and I'm sure anywhere on the grid he can potentially win, as we've seen it in Azerbaijan and Spain.
I think for some people really don't like the wet conditions, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of qualifying for some of these people, again, some people prefer it, some people don't as much. I think the important thing is for some people just to get as high as you can and try and salvage something from that. Like, I'm sure Felix would be fairly satisfied with fourth place there in these conditions, as he just tries to, you just want to have something to build on. And if you're in the top, basically inside the top 6, 7, as someone who's been running at the front for most of the season, that's in the wet conditions. That's kind of what you're just looking for something to build on. Whereas if you're TTG Francie Fro, for example, being stuck in P14, it's going to be difficult to really pull out a top result from there. Not impossible, mind you, of course, but it'll be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, and I just wonder if anyone is going to drop into the the high 38s, as that track just seems to be. It is still raining. I can't see what the timer is because I keep getting sector 3 yellow flag. But yeah, it'll be interesting if anyone comes out last minute when maybe the track is at the right kind of area where it's not too wet and it's kind of in that crossover period.
Looks pretty heavy still, but of course the time can fade. Let's see what BNLR Dennis does. Been watching him, and a new set of inters, 39.4. Immediately jumps up to 4th place, having not set a time. So, possible scope there for drivers on new tyres to find that level improvement. His teammate, not his teammate, NSR Prix, same colour car, of course, being white, goes 10th with a 140.2.
Yeah, I think some drivers may go for a fresh inter just to get themselves in a better grid position, but I wouldn't waste them just in case there is, rain in the race. Obviously, we don't know the weather for the race, but yeah, I think you wouldn't want to use them too much because on your final run you want the best of the tyre that you possibly have, and going out this early may not be a good idea, as Mr. Pop goes into the 138s and does a 138.9.
First man into the 38s then. Quite with how people build up the pace in the wet, quite a number, basically all drivers are either in the pits getting ready to go back out, there are multiple drivers on their laps on the fresh inters, TTG Slash being one of them, who of course did hold pole position there, provisional pole position, until Mr. Pop just took it off him. So while kind of people are on their out laps, he's pushing the limits here, is Slash, and he's backed off the lap. Yeah, didn't fancy a look at that. So he'll try again, plenty of time of course, to get another run in with I think it was 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, as that clock is ticking down with 3 minutes and 20 minutes left on the clock, it is now going to be the drivers coming out for their final runs, and we may just see a new driver at the top of that pole position. At the moment, Mr. Pop is leading that pole position at the moment with a 138.9, but can anybody beat him? We are in the intermediate conditions and we have intermediate tyres on.
Ecos Shifter's coming across the line to start his flying lap. He can get a run at 2 if he has enough ERS to boot. Slash is going to go again, having charged with a battery. He can get 2 runs in here if his ERS is kind enough. Behind him, however, BNL Luke goes up to 14th place, getting some run in now on those tires, understanding of the conditions. And Mr. Pop is into the pit, so that's going to be it for him. He's not going to improve any more in the session. He will not get back out in time. He does hold provisional pole. Be interested to see if anyone can take that off him with just over 2 minutes 20 to go.
Yeah, and a good showing from actually Ecos this race. P4 and P7, obviously they are in the minus. Whatever points they gain tonight will eventually decrease that minus, and hopefully they can get into a more positive points as they look to get their event races back up to a more positive points finish.
Hecht moves into 12th place there. He can squeeze in another 2 if he's got the ERS, but I don't think he'll have the ERS to do so. Francis invalidated his lap again, so he's gonna get one more run at this, I think, based on the times. But he's got traffic coming out of the pits, and he's already invalidated his lap. So unless he's got the time, he might try and corner cut to get to the end of the track here in a decent amount of time. He might have enough time. It's gonna be tight. You'll have to treat this as a flying lap essentially to get back across the line. You have Welsh Maldonado coming across the line, moves up into the top 10 as Ecos Shifters 38.92, just 500ths ahead of Mr. Pop, who of course, well, he's going to try and get himself back out in time. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to do so, but there you go.
No, he's now just gone to 1 minute left on the clock, and it is Ecos Shifters at the top there, but TTG Slash is on a flying lap, so is the Reaps, and so is Felix 1, so any one of them can take it away from Ecos Shifters.
Odegaard Gott moves up to 8th place, people finding improvements all the while. The 2 NLR cars line up line astern. Repez is actually invalidated his lap, so Felix 1 will be the first one to cross the line here, set a valid time. He is in 6th place. Can he move back up to the 2nd row? Can he move up to the 1st row? It is good enough for the 1st row. The front row, pole position provisionally 38.8 for Felix 1. He can get one more shot at it as well if he's got enough ERS for the job. As Combi Kermi moves up into 7th place. Couldn't even tell you how this grid is going to finish up. Everyone finding improvements. Where is TG Francie Fro? Again, invalidated lap. He's really not got a lot of invalidated laps in, and the checker flag is that he just crept across that line in time. Who is first then to come across? I
think it'll be Shifters. Yeah, Shifters is first, but I don't think he's. Yeah, he may just.
Can he take pole position away from Felix 1? He can. 38.5. Considerable margin between himself and Felix 1. That is the benchmark to beat. Where's TTG Slash? Another invalid lap from TTG Slash. He did a 38.7. Would not have been enough for pole position. So TTG Slash will start no higher than 4th place. Well, who is next? It's Odegaard Gott. He's invalidated his lap. Let's see if we can find anyone else. Pizatron. Again, sorry if that's not how you pronounce that, but words are hard. He's coming across the line. He's in 18th place. He could do it with any sort of lap to lift him. A couple of tenth improvements could easily see him up 3-4 positions. And he does find a considerable amount of time. 39.8 lifts him into the top 10. What about the 2 NLR cars? Felix 1 coming across the line. Can he improve on his time again? He does! 38.4. He goes into pole position with his teammate robbing off him at the death. No! It's a front row lockout though for NLR, unless anyone has anything to say about it at the death. Combi Kermi moves up into 6th. He can't find an improvement. Francie Fro, can he perform an unlikely coup of this front row? He comes across the line and he moves up to the 7th place, but it's not up to trouble. NLR, and I think that is going to do it.
Yeah, that's quite impressive from NLR. Literally 1/10 between each other. But yeah, it is an NLR 1-2 for qualifying session. Running off that 3rd place is from Ecos Esports is Ecos Shifters.
So an eventful, that was an eventful session, all right, with twists and turns. Never knew how that grid was going to end up, but at the end of the day, it is Felix one ahead of his teammate the Reapers in second place. Ecos Shifters then second row start for him. He's in third place. Mr. Pop then in fourth. TTG Slash in fifth. Combi Kermi in sixth place ahead. TTG Francie Fro in seventh. BNLRE Dennis in 8th, Faust in 9th, Christian 10th, Pysatron in 11th, Gott in 12th, NSR Thomas in 13th, followed by Welsh Maldonado in 14th, CPI Reds in 15th place. You got Hecht just behind him, Alt Maverick, NSR Pariah, BNR Luke, and Smalley then, who of course did not set a time, having crashed early on in qualifying. He's got a lot of work to do for him. He'll be one to watch starting from the back.
Yeah, and if it is a dry race, the drivers will get a free choice of soft, medium, or hard. So that'll be also interesting to see what they go on.
Yeah, free choice. So if it's dry, so we'll see how that unfolds. We'll see any second now what the conditions are. So I don't have a PS5 sadly. So if someone else, some other people will see before I get in here, but.
But I'm PS4, so, and it is dry.
Those are pretty dry looking to me.
Yeah, pretty bone dry.
And looks like it should stay that way. Of course, you never quite know. Weather can move. Look, the one thing I've learned: weather can come in quickly. It can move. It can in this game, and it can move away very quickly as well. So, but for now, at least to start, it will be dry. So, not a lot of time for drivers to make their decisions. Of course, they need to select their fuel. What tyre they start on, what's the optimal one. Long run down to turn 1, so there is enough to be gained by a soft compound tyre. But if you're at the front, do you take that risk? Medium? Maybe Felix can take it if he got his teammate as a rear gunner, so to speak. We'll see what they do. I see medium tyres for many drivers. In fact, every single one of them except Dennis and Pariah is on the medium compound tyre. That might suggest something, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and while we are here, everyone from EML, TML, or TTML, should I say, would like to pass on our condolences and our thoughts to the family of Sir Frank Williams, who sadly passed away earlier this week. His life was literally an incredible one, as he built so many F1 teams in Williams F1, and Williams is a very prestigious team in F1. So I believe myself and Graham are just going to take a few moments just to take a silence in respect of Sir Frank Williams.
As the drivers approach the final few corners, looking to get us underway. 27 laps, looks pretty clear. A long run down to turn 1. Be interested to see Dennis, how he gets on those soft compound tires, if he can make any headway. If he gets a good start, he could easily launch himself into the top 5 if things go well. And of course, the perilous first 2 corners to negotiate at the same time. But you'd have to say NLR in a very good spot here. If they can come out of these first 2 corners 1 and 2, that could end up being half the battle. Who knows?
Yeah, as the drivers are lining up on the grid, I'll hand you over to my comms colleague for this evening in EML League 2 is Graham for the race start and lights out here in Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix in round number 4.
Go on board Ecos Shifters in 3rd place. You can get a good run down towards turn 1. Anything is possible. Slipstream. 5 red lights. And away we go. It's a good start for the top two. In fact, if anything, the Reapers, is he going to be challenging his teammate Felix 1 into turn 1? Doesn't look like it, so the NLR will run 1 and 2, but TTG Slash is alongside to challenge that. Squeezed out a little bit wide by the Reapers. I'm not sure if you got a warning for that. Got Faust and Mr. Pop side by side as they head through into the latter ends of Sector 1, side by side. This is for 6th place. Corner closes and then opens up. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Mr. Pop, is he still facing the right round? Yes, he is, but he's under pressure from Dennis, and a virtual safety car has been deployed for what?
Yeah.
Everyone's still facing the right way round. Very unusual. That's going to help a number. If you're a car under pressure, it's going to certainly help you because you're going unchallenged into this chicane. So that takes a bit of the excitement away. That was an odd one. Hopefully we get underway soon. That was very strange.
Yeah, and Felix said just before that virtual safety car had gained nearly 5/10 to a second on his teammate, which is the Reaper. So, the Reap, should I say. He's definitely playing that wingman role to perfection, and it'll be interesting what happens on this virtual safety car restart, and if any driver doesn't get a drive-through.
Stern defense from the Reapers as well on Slash. You may feel he was squeezed out a little bit wide there coming out of turn 2, but if ironically we probably might get this green flag as we head down the main straight. So who's going to be awake and alert? Just have a quick look at the position changes. A few places up there for Slash. Looks like we're getting ready once again. Foster's moved up a few places as well. Now we're underway. Green flag racing once again. Took a while. Drivers are going very almost full throttle heading down that straight. But now, anything doing? Oh, there's a spin. There is a spin. That is it's Faust, who is running in a very decent place. He's spun, and I'm not sure who else was involved in that. But that's a few positions gained for several cars down the field.
Yeah, and Smalley's got himself up from P20 to P12 on the mediums already, so he's definitely showing his pace.
That's an excellent start for Smalley. 8 positions gained, and you have to say, out of the first few laps, it's in play for him, as we've got Mr. Pop and Dennis. Of course, Dennis on those soft compound tyres will have the advantage at this stage of the race, and he should use that traction to pull himself through. And he moves up into 6th place. Important for him to make hay on these tyres while they're still the better optimal tyre, but eventually that will fade.
Yeah, the softs will fade, I reckon, in a few laps' time. Probably around about lap 8 to lap 10. We'll just see the softs start to run. They may be trying to do a one-stop. Maybe... Oh, someone's had a spin.
Ecos Shifters has had a spin. He's running nowhere near anyone in terms of side-by-side, so I imagine he's just dropped it on traction coming out of turn number 12. And he slides. He was in a very good spot, was Ecos Shifters, and now he is down to P14. He has work to do.
Yeah, just fallen just in front of his teammate as well, as they are going to switch Faust and Shifters from Ecos. But yeah, Dennis, he may have the grip right now, but he's in 8 laps time, I reckon, or 6 to 8 laps. He is going to start feeling that wear. Oh, and he gets a penalty.
Too much grip, perhaps. So first penalty of the day. We'll see a few, I'm sure, but there's a bit of a conundrum here going on at OWR. You got Christian ahead of Gott, and there's a bit of issue cars like NSR Thomas and the fast approaching Smalley. I wonder if those... Oh, they switch. They do switch. I was wondering if they would switch. Gott is then moving ahead of Christian, and they've done that pretty nicely without losing too many positions, but arguably they look as fast as each other, and NSR Thomas, just the overtake isn't quite there. Into the slipstream, Christian into Gott, and they're going to hold on to this one just about, but they do seem to have a bit of a conundrum. I'm not sure who the quicker driver is and which one should cede. Oh, almost understeers into his teammate, did Christian there. Lucky not to collide there.
Yeah, that is the situation in these team events. You don't know when to go, when to defend, when to play wingman, when to... Yeah, I just hope they are both in the party, because this could get quite interesting if they aren't. As it looks like NRS Thomas and Smalley are going to battle down the straight.
Dennis moves by Francie Fro as well, so positions lost and gained. I was looking on board with the replays because he was looking like he's going to overtake Felix, and he might do heading down the Mistral straight, and they should probably do it because they do have a second or so on Slash, and if you could keep him out of that DRS range, that would be big. So I do expect to see a change of position here between the two NLR drivers. A lot of teamwork needed to coordinate this. And will Slash have DRS? He does just have DRS, but these two now, they might just go back and forth to play this team game, and whoever ends up winning the race ends up winning the race. It's all a team effort at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think Smalley is going to go for a late move. He's having a look.
Ooh.
That's yeah.
Had to get out of dodge there. Calvisi lost his front wing, and ERS used by Christian there. It's just keeping Smalley pent up. He's used a lot of his ERS as it is already. So these OWR cars are proving quite a nuisance for Smalley. Again, he has to get right out of the way to avoid hitting the rear of that OWR car. I'm sure he'll be very frustrated under that, as NSR Thomas, who's just behind them, has spun. And we've got Pariah and his teammate rather, and Maverick. Oh, and may have been squeezed a little bit off track there. He's got a warning from it. They're almost going 3 wide heading into the final sector here, as Faust gets through because Pariah is going into the pits, perhaps for a wing change. But look at this, Smalley. Oh, a little bit of contact front to rear. That could have easily ended up in a crash, but he can't get through despite having DRS. Smalley surely feels he must be quicker, but he is just royally pent up behind this OWR.
Yeah, he is literally right on the back of that car. I think he's the OWR Christensen is getting pulled by his teammate because of the DRS. But I think Smalley has got this move this lap, and it is now inevitable that he is going to get the move done. He's having a look. He's looking left and right. He's going to tuck himself behind for the moment. He's still not going to go for it. Is he going to go for a late one? He is. He's gone around the outside and sent it late. And yeah, he's got himself up to P8 from the back of the grid. I feel like
that was maybe a do or die send. I think he was sending that one regardless. And whether Christian feels agreed about that, who knows? But the important thing for Smalley is he's got himself up to 8th place. While that was going on, Slash moved ahead. Francie Fro rather moved ahead of Dennis. So soft tires maybe dropping off just a little bit. The gap at the front, I'm not sure. I think Felix has a moment somewhere because he's 2 seconds behind the Reapers now, and Slash is right behind him. So he must have had a moment somewhere because that gap was much bigger than it is now between Felix and Slash. And I wonder if Slash will go for a move. The problem with going for a move in turn 1 here, as he downships very early to 7th gear. The problem with it going for a move as Smalley gets by the other OWR car down the main straight. The problem going down the main straight here, overtaking, if you can't get enough distance, you are sitting duck on the Mistral straight.
Yeah, and if Smalley can keep up this pace and he can catch up to his teammate, he can now give his teammate a little bit of support to get past Dennis, who is in P5, the only soft runner, 5 laps in. So yeah, this is if you take Dennis out of the equation, this is literally the top 6 or 7 are NLR, TTG, and then TRT. If you remove Dennis, it's literally 3 teams, all their drivers in the top 6 spaces.
Ecos Shifters moving up past Maverick, but we're watching this because I'm not sure if Slash will be aware. Oh, he's made contact with the back of Felix. I think he should be okay. I'm not sure if he'll be aware, but Felix has significantly less ERS. Slash needs 60%. Felix just trying to get to 20. So you feel like this move might be coming sooner rather than later if Slash hasn't damaged his car on the back of Felix, which I don't think he should have with that at that speed.
No, it seems to be all okay, but obviously we can't see the non-visual bits. Slash is going to get DRS as they come down the start-finish line for lap number 7. 20 laps remain here in Paul Ricard. He's going to have a look. Somebody behind is having a look. That's Dennis. Dennis has gone up the outside of Francie Fro and gets himself up to P4 on 6 lap softs.
Back and forth between those two. Meanwhile, going back to Slash and Felix, you have to say, given the ERS situation, Slash probably should just go full send. If he can get a good, he's got a decent run off that corner. This should be a move he should be looking to make, should be able to make. Mr. Pop on the back of Francie Fro actually is going to be interesting in the background, but we'll stick with this for the time being, as Felix is powerless to defend this. A bit of ERS use from Slash, and he is through. And Mr. Pop then around the outside. Francie Fro then trying to defend this position as well. Oh, it's very, very tight, side by side still. Doesn't look like Felix is going to fight back here, so we'll stay with this one. Inside line for Francie Fro through scene corner. Who will budge first? ERS very low. Oh, again, a little bit of contact around the outside. Can he switch back? Looks like Francie Fro's held on to that position for the time being.
Yeah, as Felix is still holding on to Slash here. He's not letting him go, but if he doesn't close up that gap very soon, that DRS detection zone is gonna run away from him as they come to the start-finish line. Felix is going to get DRS.
Mr. Popper's in.
I believe. Yeah, I think he may have just got a bit of wing damage. But that does promote Smalley up to P6, the other TRT driver. Yeah, I think Dennis may just want to start... yeah, Dennis just might want to start thinking about a pit stop strategy here, because them softs will start to die eventually, I reckon, in around about the next 1 or 2 laps.
Slash hasn't really pulled away from Felix too much, though. Felix, if he's not using the chance to save some ERS, he's nearly back up to 30%. See if he'll go for this move to try and take this place back, or will he bide his time? It looks like he's coming. Yes, a little bit of ERS, not but too much. Just shows you how powerful DRS here. And Felix does the Slash, what Slash to him. Bit of a squeeze heading into the braking zone, just to deter him from fighting back. But Slash has so much more ERS to use. Will he use it heading down the straight? He could if he wanted to drag alongside him, but he's just going to think better of it. He's going to hold back and fight another day.
Yeah, and I think that's what Slash is going to have to do. Just maybe he hasn't got the overall outright pace to Felix. He may have to do it in the pit stop and maybe do an undercut here. But yeah, one of the ESW drivers from EA Esports Wales TAN has opted for the hard compound tyre, who sits in 20th place. Mr. Pop went for the soft, so he's definitely committing to a 2-stop strategy.
Interesting one, that. Either feels that the hard is a diabolical tyre, as Slash, hold that thought, Slash again doesn't want to commit to the overtake. He downshifts to the 7th gear, revs that thing. Again, this is what I'm saying earlier, sometimes you don't want to go down the inside or make the move down the main straight, because if you can't get enough separation, as we've seen already, you're going to be, again, you're just going to have that place taken away from you again heading down the Mistral straight. So intentions clear as day to see from that point of view. Luke gets a penalty. So yeah, interesting one. That's Mr. Pop has gone for another set of softs, as like you said, committing to another stop, and this will be again back and forth. I reckon this will go. This only helps the Reapers, whose gap is now 4 seconds. This is squabbling. This continued battle as Francie Fro gets by Dennis as well. This continued battle between Felix and Slash only helps the Reapers out front. Yeah,
this is helping Reaps, and I think that maybe what Felix is just trying to do, let Reaps...
Ecos, sorry Storm, Ecos is round again. Ecos shifters around again. Second time he's around. He came into contact, going side by side through turns 8 and 9, and all the work he had done to try and get himself back to some track position has somewhat disappeared.
Yeah, I think maybe if you are running lower down in the race, you may opt for the hards, in case there is a safety car, you can then get yourself up the order. But yeah, a safety car may just throw a few things out of the window if it did come when the mediums do decide to pit.
Gap a little bit, as Ecos shifters come into the pits, gap a little bit further now between Slash and Felix. I wonder, even with DRS, if Felix has enough to take this place back, and if he isn't able to take this place back, I do wonder if Slash might begin to drive away from him somewhat. Sometimes the best time to take back a position is when you just lost it, and when you've lost it and you can't respond, sometimes it can be difficult to take it back at all. and he's not going to be even close to be able to make an overtake this time around. So it's another decent sector and a half here from Slash, and he could be secure from that point of view, because 7/10 wasn't enough for Felix to get by, even with DRS.
Yeah, not enough road there for Felix. I think Felix may just want to sit this one and recharge that ERS and maybe go in a few laps time when he has the better tyre, when he has the ERS, and maybe after a pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely a good opportunity for, if he can stay, as long as he can stay within DRS, he's got a chance. It's a good opportunity for him to try to recharge for sure, and he's up to nearly 40% now. Slash, he's actually very close to Slash from an ERS point of things. So this certainly will help. You can just keep within that DRS, because once on the 2 spots that is available here, it is quite powerful. See, he's about 7/8/10, but again, overtaking won't be his intention. But as long as he can hang around, and the gap between himself and his Slash and the Reaper is now 4.5 seconds. So looking good for NLR as a team from this at this point in the race.
Yeah, definitely. If they can get this pit stop strategy right, they could be still looking on for a podium and a race win, and which would be massive in the points. As one of the other OWR drivers gets another penalty, or his first penalty of this. A lot of the medium runners are opting for the hard compound side. There's 3 now on the hards, and just maybe going to the end of the race. As Felix 1 is right on the back now, he's 3/10 behind TTG Slash, so maybe he is looking for that move now, but I would recharge that ERS.
Bit of a corner cut from Welsh Maldonado as he made that overtake on OWR Christian. Might protest that one afterwards. That's Welsh Maldonado up into 8th place, splitting the 2 OWR cars. A few more penalties begin to roll in. At the top, it's all pretty clean. 5th place, Dennis has a 3-second penalty, and tell you what, Smalley is right on the back of him. Those softs definitely have dropped off. Smalley was more than a few seconds behind as Slash comes into the pits and Dennis comes into the pits. So interesting, Slash is the one to go in first ahead of Felix. I thought perhaps Felix might be the one to come in first to try and undercut, but Slash, maybe wanting to prevent such an eventuality, has dived in first.
Yeah, so it seems like TTG Slash has thrown the first punch to Felix 1, and Felix 1 hasn't responded, but he may come in this lap. This is the situation that NLR have themselves in. When do Felix pit and when does the Reaps pit? Because Reaps doesn't want to lose his gap and he doesn't want to be dropping too many positions.
It's worked out nicely for Slash. He's just come out ahead of Thomas. Being stuck behind Thomas through sector 1 would have been pretty rough in terms of his outlap. So if Felix is going to respond, this is the lap to do it. Use that battery, because Slash has got a clear track in front of him. He's got just under 5 seconds behind Luke then. So the Reapers is in a good position. He could wait a few laps on any undercut attempt on him. He's in a good spot, 5.6 seconds ahead. But now Felix, his teammate, interesting scenario. A 1-2 potentially on the table for NLR. What does he decide to do?
He is coming round the final 2 corners, so we'll know if he's going to box this lap. Oh, set the 2 yellow flags. That's a double DNF.
Safety car is deployed, and the Reapers just came in time.
And so is Felix, I think. So yeah, they're going to have to double stack this.
Now, where have these two? So, guys, Combi and OWR Christian, who were coming close together, getting down the straight. I reckon they've come across each other. Maybe one tried to move over, because that is pretty much down. You can't see the markers anymore. It looked like it was down the straight, and that is a absolutely devastating blow for Slash. Because where is it's a slow pit lane. So let's see. The Reapers is definitely already out. Felix then. Oh, Slash is lost out in a major way here. He's coming down the main straight now. Felix is already out though, and Francie Fro could be ahead of him as well. And he is, and Smalley then in 5th place as well. So Slash has lost out not only to Felix but to his teammate as well.
Yeah, Dennis is gone for a set of mediums. So has Mr. Pop, and I believe Pariah and Hecht and Reds will do the same, but they may go on some softs as, Pariah has opted for the soft. Just a quick mention from Pariah, he is using a special French helmet. He wanted us to mention it on the stream, so if you do see his car, then he is using a French helmet from, because we are in France for the French Grand Prix. So while we are on the safety car, it is the Reaps who leads the whole grid, just behind that safety car, with Felix 1, his teammate, in the P2. Then we've got the two TTG drivers of TTG Francifo and TTG Slash. Then in P5 we have from TRT we have Smalley 1310. Then in 6th we've got BNLRE Dennis from BNLR, and then in P7 we've got one of the OWR drivers. I'm really going to struggle to pronounce the name, so I won't even try. Then in P8 we've got from Esports Wales Tan, we've got the Welsh Maldonado. Then from QVR we have Alt Maverick, and then in P10 we have the other BNLR driver of BNLR Luca 112. Then the first of the Ecos Esports drivers, we have Ecos Shifters. Then the second of the TRT drivers in P12 we have Mr. Pop. Then the two NSR Esports drivers is NSR Thomas in P13, P14 is NSR Pariah, and then in 15th and 16th we have the two CPI drivers of Hecht_21 and CPI Reds, and then we've got the other Esports Tan driver in 17th, and then in P18 of the current drivers that are racing is Get On My Faust from Ecos, and then we've got the two retirements, which is from QVR Combi and OWR Christensen, who have retired.
It's an interesting dynamic now at play now with the tyres, because obviously those who start on mediums had no choice but to pit. You can't go into another set of mediums. Most of them chose to go hards. Now with the safety car being out, you can definitely, I would say, get a set of mediums to the end. And we saw Dennis do 10 laps on soft. By the time this gets going again, it'll be lap 15. So softs from Pariah are going to be a stretch, but I'm looking at the likes of Dennis, and more specifically, because he's not got any penalties, Mr. Pop in 12th, as some drivers who could really make some inroads in the second stint. Mr. Pop can definitely keep himself out of trouble going through that pack on those mediums and avoid a penalty. He could easily pick himself a top 5 finish tonight if things break his way.
Yeah, and we both don't want to be traumatised by the safety car from last week, as hopefully this time it does go in, and it seems to be behaving itself, the virtual Burt Mylander in the Aston Martin green safety car, as we had an incident with it last week, and hopefully all is well. As the safety car is now in this lap, so I'll hand you over to Graham for the safety car restart here on lap number 14 of 27.
So it'll be 13 laps, including the one we start on lap 15. The Reap is ahead of Felix then, and a reverse situation from the start of the race. It's the Reap is in front, who looks like he's had the measure over Felix in the race. So again, it's as one will have to protect the other. They've got Francifo and Slash. Again, can't help but feel Slash maybe the quicker of the two in this position. So I'm sure if we'll see what team orders come through. But TTG versus NLR seemingly to end this race, as oh wow, Reapers has gone extremely early. He is away. Some people won't even go on this track until the line itself, but Reapers has gone like 3 corners to go beforehand. But anyways, he's away. Long straight down, he is clear of his teammate, and to be fair, TTG are nowhere, and Smalley's been caught napping too, so that's an excellent restart from the Reapers and NLR.
Yeah, NLR having a good restart there. Also, Shifters and BNLR Luke is having a bit of a battle there. Shifters on older hards, but it does take them hards to warm up a few laps, so Shifters may have them in the right temperature, as the two NSR drivers do team order switch there and Pariah up to P13.
This is a big train from Ecos Shifters, and Mr. Pop and Pariah are going to have to be very careful how they negotiate this, because they do have the pace on those tyres, but plenty of cars to negotiate. Mr. Pop then gets through on Luke, and Pariah will try and follow him through as well. And fight around the outside still is Luke. Mr. Pop should have the tyres, as Dennis is going for a move as well on Smalley. Of course, medium versus hards, side by side, and it looks like Dennis is through then. So Dennis looking to use his tyre advantage, and he has to get after it because he does have a penalty, and he needs to continue to hunt down the cars in front of him and extend the gap to have any hope of making the strategy work.
Yeah, the strategy here is now going to be very key, especially them hard runners. It will take them a few laps to...
Sorry, Storm, there's a collision between Pariah and Mr. Pop. The two drivers who couldn't afford to trip over each other on their softer compound tyres have come together. Mr. Pop down to the back of the field. Pariah's pace, his progress is disrupted. There's an almighty battle going on behind him. There's like 5-6 cars. It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, not going great there for the TRT driver, as yeah, he had a bit of a coming together with NSR Pariah, but it seems like Mr. Pop came off worse, and he is now 13.4 seconds behind Get On My Faust.
Yeah, and a penalty to boot now to add insult to injury, so any hopes he had in this race have been dashed, as a big old train behind Luke here. He's got a lot of penalties, 11 seconds worth at the very least. And DRS has been enabled yet? No, because this is the second lap after the safety car restart. Meanwhile, Slash and Francie Fro, I think they need to switch these cars ASAP. Francie Fro's lost 2 seconds to Felix. With the win, any possible win for TTG is slipping away here with these. I think with these cars ordered as they are. I think Slash, we saw how quick he was and how competitive he was versus Felix, and he's already 2 seconds behind. It'd be difficult to make that up. I would be hazard to guess there's a tough conversation going on, possibly to see if Slash can kick on with it, but this is a dream, and it could get even worse because the Reapers and Felix, they're within DRS. They could just DRS each other the rest of the way and play this out and use that gap to their advantage and grow it as well. And here we go. Yeah, switch is happening. Slash has been let through, and now let's see if he can. Let's see if it's not too late to try and set off after NLR.
Yeah, this will be, I think, crucial for TTG. They need to maybe get a car in between the Reaps and Felix, and I think the battle that we've already seen between Felix and Slash maybe just that quicker driver to get done here in Paul Ricard.
The difficulty now is that Felix will have that DRS advantage that Slash won't, and that gap you can see is growing as they head down the straight, and it can grow as he heads to the slipstream down the other straight. So it might be already too late. We'll see though, as Ecos Shifters gets by off Maverick. That is for P9, and Pariah will be on the back of this not too shortly on his soft compound tyres. Meanwhile, TTG have got an issue because Dennis is looking to insert himself between their two cars on the medium compound tyres. So there is a penalty to be had here as well, but yes, TTG have to be very careful in these next few laps not to come together with Dennis on those tyres, and maybe play the long game with a penalty in mind.
Yeah, this is going to be some crucial 10 laps for Slash, as he is 3 seconds behind Felix. I just wonder maybe if NLR may do a switch as well, depending on how they feel on the pace. As CPI Reds gets a 3-second time, sector 3 yellow flags. That is Mr. Pop.
Goes from bad to worse. Oh, Dennis losing the back end somewhat. Smalley still interested in the back of this, and there's all sorts of there's an absolute scrap and a half. There's Luke, there's Hecht, Thomas, Reds, Faust. Oh, it's all kicking off. Just trying to see if the Reapers is disconnected. So from the lead of the race, the Reapers has disconnected. His teammate will be on hand as Faust retires from the race. And Reds is out as well, and that's another safety car has been deployed. Oh, it's all kicking off down there. Just if we go to see the change as the disconnect, it's all kicked off between that big battle we were just on and a lifeline for Mr. Pop and a few others, that is a disaster for not a disaster, but a setback for NLR, who almost had this race, I want to say, in the bag after that first safety car restart.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you every single driver is going to switch to a set of softs, because there's literally 9 laps left. Everybody is going to box for the softs.
Well, I'd say down the field possibly. It'd be interesting to see what Felix does from the lead of the race. He takes track position, and yes, this is a good idea, I think, from TTG to split the strategies between the two. Francie Fro comes in. Now, he will lose a fair amount of track position, but he should be able to gain a fair amount of it back. And of course, once he comes in, others will follow suit, so he won't lose a bunch of track position when others come in as well. So this might be a very good gamble for TTG, and I think it's worth playing, because it certainly looked like, as it stood, it wasn't going to go their way.
No, and yeah, most people have pitted the bottom 9. Have decided to pit the top 8 not pitting, so it's going to be soft versus hard and 1 medium.
I'm surprised Pariah didn't come back in for another set of the softs. He's got 6 laps old. They're going to be old to finish anyway, and he's got fresh softs behind him. Francie Fro then comes out in 10th. If you can get by Pariah soon enough, he's got Maverick, Shifters, Gott, Smalley on hards, Dennis on aging mediums, and then obviously his teammate, and well, the solo NLR car for the time being. Hopefully they coordinate to get him an invite back, or maybe the Reapers composite, or sorry, Felix composite. I'm not sure if he would have received a second invite.
I've just sent him one, just in case, just to try and get him back in. Hopefully he can get back in. But yeah, it's just, I know Pariah is the host, and I don't think AI under a safety car is a good idea. So he has joined, so he is one lucky driver.
If he can get back in, and if he can't get going again, take control of his car, the safety car restart, he should be able to. The safety car restart would be very interesting if there's a ghost car at the front, but he's got enough time, and there he is. Oh, and he's hit into the safety car, has he? Yes, he has. He joined at exactly the wrong moment. I think his wing has gone flying. I'm not sure. It looks okay from this point of view. He definitely flew into the back of it.
Yeah, when I sent that invite, I didn't mean him hit the safety car,
okay,
but he may be okay. Yeah, I think it was just a tap. It wasn't like a full whack. But we don't know. That may have floor damage.
Oh, and there's a collision. 5-second penalty for Smalley for collision with Dennis. So stewards will, I'm sure the team will try and get that one removed. So the Reapers is back in, although I don't know to what extent, because I thought I saw a piece of debris flying when he hit the back of the safety car, but no visual damage at least. So, well, I guess we'll see pretty quickly whether his grip levels are like, if it did damage or not. But let's just lay the table then for this next part of the race. The guys on the hards are going to be very vulnerable, basically from Dennis downwards. Are going to be vulnerable to those guys on softs. To what extent, we will see. But the one thing that the likes of the guys leading here on hards and Dennis here on mediums is that these soft compound runners, they could trip up on each other, and a battle may create the separation they need to escape. Now, maybe not escape, but enough of a margin where even if they do come back, as they maybe should, given that their rubber will be far superior, enough to the point, because most of these soft runners, bar Francie Fro, in fact all of these soft runners have penalties, so let's just bring up the penalty situation. Pardon me, I can never figure this out. Boom, there we go. So 3 seconds for Dennis. Smalley got that 5-second penalty, should get removed. 6 seconds for Maverick, 3 for Pariah, 6 for Pisatron and Lucas, the safety cars in this lap. Everyone else has got 3, but critically Francie Fro has none. So he will be the one to watch, because he was running close to the front anyway. Yeah,
and Pariah with 7 laps softs. The safety car is going to come in this lap on lap 20. We're going to have 7 laps of racing here in Paul Ricard. You might as well say it is a sprint race well, a virtual sprint race, as the Reap is just going to back everyone up as we go for the restart here in Paul Ricard.
Now, he went very early last time. That worked to great effect. Usually going so early can lead to you getting jumped, but he timed that excellently last time. And just the one now, Slash is ahead this time instead of Francie Fro. We'll see if they can escape to the degree they did last time. Looks like he's waiting a little bit longer. Maybe a different approach. Obviously, everyone would have been expecting an early one this time, or more so not expecting, more so ready for an early go. But so you see again, tire temperature on these hards, you could see it be a real factor versus the softs, which will only take a few corners to warm up. The hards a bit more difficult to go. But there we go. Then Reapers has vaulted, and they've caught Slash napping somewhat. He has been left behind, and that's a big blow off the bat. He's not out of it by any means, but not ideal to be left a second behind before you even get down to turn 1.
Yeah, they have caught him napping there as they all come through into turn 1 and turn 2.
Contact, sorry. Oh dear, and Pariah's out of the race. He tried to go around the outside into turn 1. Contact, and he got hit into by another car. I'm not sure which one, but that is one of the soft runners out of the contention already.
Yeah, I'm very unlucky for NSR Pariah. Set the 1 yellow flag, so I don't think that'll be any safety car. It may cause a virtual safety car, but yeah, we are under racing as Dennis and Slash have overtaken each other.
Yeah, Dennis going through that very sloppy start for Slash, who was definitely caught napping, and it may have cost TTG this race as Felix and the Reapers can try and vault away. Those mediums won't be getting any better as time goes on, and a penalty as well for this. Also, Dennis has a penalty to boot, so we'll see if Dennis can mix it up with the NLR guys. If he can't, this looks like a very, very favourable result for NLR, but there are still just over 6 laps to go. Anything can happen, of course.
Yeah, anything can happen, and it will happen potentially for any of the drivers, as they are all still bunched up, and DRS won't be activated this lap, as they are now going to come on lap 22 of 27. So you see the gap 9/10. Francie Fro in 8th place. He's got shifters to go through first, and then OWR got. He's had a pretty quietly good race after being in the thick of it early on. But I see Francie Fro should mince some of these cars, and before DRS as well. DRS being able to lap 23 as Thomas and Maldonado pit, so they must have got caught up in that incident with Pariah in turn 1. But beautiful exit, as you'd expect on those lovely soft tyres, and a bit of ERS being used by Francie Fro. Of course, he does not have DRS, so they have to make this with his own straight line speed, and zips back across to take P7. He is going to be one to watch. He could still easily get himself a podium if things work out. He could even get P6 immediately as well. Yes, he is. And through he goes. Yeah. He's making a charge back up that position now up to P6 for TTG Francie Fro. He's got Smalley, who has driven an absolute fantastic race so far from the back of the grid after a retirement in the intermittent wet conditions up to P5. He has got a penalty, but he has got a gap of 1.62 TTG Francie Fro.
Of course, that penalty was for contact under the safety car, so there's a good chance it might get removed. Slash is looking a little dicey on traction in a couple of spots, trying to really push, because he's out of a second now to be on to Dennis, as DRS has now enabled this lap, and Dennis himself isn't in that DRS range again. NLR are in an absolute dream scenario where they can just DRS each other with no threat from DRS of the cars behind. Now Dennis is close, but not close enough to get that DRS, and Francie Fro, will he catch that DRS line in time? I think he's just going to miss out on this occasion. He just put in a purple sector 1 there.
Yeah, Slash is getting that time down, but then it immediately goes back up. So it is quite interesting. It is coming down now. He's now under the 1 second. Oh, he's now gone back up. So he's definitely losing it somewhere.
Got Shifters and Hecht squabbling for position. This is for P7. Ecos Shifters, he's got no penalties. Maybe he might be better served to let this one go. As Hecht goes through, and we send one on Gott as well. Not quite. Oh, he was going to go for it. He's going to go for it, and he gets that move done. Moves up into 7th place. The problem for Francie Fro is he needs to break into that DRS on grip, because Smalley's got DRS down the straights. He's losing out time down there. If he's not within DRS, he's not got a chance on those soft tyres. And now he just pops in. Will he have got there before the detection point? It doesn't look like it, no. So he's going to drop out of a second range if he's having to use all of his ERS essentially to stay within 1 second here. So he's been compromised on that front. His charge through the field's been compromised on the basis that he's going to have no ERS basically by the time he gets there.
Yeah, I think ERS and DRS are quite powerful around here. Yeah, so this is still looking like a P1 and P2 for NLR, as I don't think anyone is going to be able to catch them unless there is a VSC.
Francie Fro has got within DRS. I was looking dicey there, so as long as he's within it, he's okay. And now Smalley going to go for the move on Slash, who does not defend. Pace is falling away, and Smalley then moves up into P4, and he's going to try and set off after Dennis then, because he collided under the safety car with. And 1 point there, you see Dennis is dropping back from Felix in the replay, just what DRS does. And we got Luke is round from 12th, a few penalties flying in, so that's unfortunate for him. As Shifters on the hards, older hards than OWR got on the back is for P8, and Shifters got no penalties. You might want to get through here, because Hecht could possibly pull away 3 seconds on those softs in these few laps that are remaining.
Yeah, this is getting very close now to the end, as we have 3 laps left, and yeah, Francie Fro may just want to overtake his teammate here, which I suspect will happen, as there seems to be a battle here for P12.
That'll be Luke and Maverick, and I think as Pariah, disconnected. So of course he was the host. The problem now that Francie Fro has is that he's stuck in a DRS train, and his teammate absolutely needs to move aside. That has to happen immediately. And he doesn't have DRS. He does have DRS and bit of slipstream, and those cars are now switched as they should be. But the problem is, Smalley, can he get past Dennis? Dennis should make relatively, I won't say easy pickings, but on soft versus old mediums, you imagine Francie Fro has a considerable advantage. But again, he's just stuck in this DRS train with no ERS. His progress has been stunted as a result of Mr. Pop then moving into frame here, moves up into 9th place ahead of Ecos Shifters.
Yeah, and just a quick update on the penalties. Dennis has 3, Smalley has 5, Hecht has 3, OWR, I'm going to really struggle to pronounce that name, I might get it by the end of the race, has 3, Mr. Pop has 3, one of the Esports Wales TAN drivers has 6, well, they both have 6, should I say. BNL Luke has 9, Maverick has 6, and Thomas has 3 seconds. Make that 6 seconds. Oh no, 9 seconds for Maverick now, as he picks up another penalty.
Few of these he's had 2 in the last few laps. He comes into the pits. I wonder if he might retire. But yeah, there's your penalty situation, and I reckon Smalley is going to be shaping up a move here on Dennis. 2 TTG cars still close. This is the penultimate lap. This race has flown by, even with safety cars. But this should be an easy move for Smalley, which will cap off a really wonderful drive from the back. As the two NLR guys switch as Smalley. Sorry, I cut that time there. Smalley gets the move done on Dennis as he was going to. Oh, Dennis a little bit dicey on traction. Gets that move done, but a switch of the positions for Felix and the replays. I wonder if they're racing, or maybe one owed the other a favour for early on in the race, because ultimately at the end of the day it's not about the drivers but the teams. Dennis trying to really fight this back. You see he's getting all on the traction, and so is Smalley, so these two are not side by side, but they're fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, they are going to fight it down to the wire as they come round for the penultimate lap here in Paul Ricard. Lap number 27 as we get ready for the final lap here in EML League 2 for round number 4 for the French Grand Prix.
Francie Fro needs to get this move done. If he can get this move done quickly, I don't think he's got a chance to get off to get after Smalley. But there's Dennis trying to fight with the grip he has left on those tyres. 15 lap mediums, it's a long way to take them, even with a few safety cars to minimise some of that full racing speed. But it's not going to be easy for Francie Fro because Dennis is right there on Smalley, and Smalley might have to look behind him for not just one car but two cars.
Yeah, Francie Fro needs to, or Fro should I say, should get this move done, as I think the two NLR drivers have switched again. That's just proving their pure dominance this race. They have played... Oh, Dennis gets another 3-second time penalty. So he's going to drop.
Yeah, that's very costly, as Smalley trying to break the toe. That could be very costly indeed. Meanwhile, it's been an absolutely brilliant team display at the front, from qualifying, the start of the race, the safety car restarts. You'd have to say NLR have absolutely nailed this. Through the different scenarios that have come up in this race, they have been ready to face each and every one of them. Bit of luck with the safety car for Felix to get truly ahead of Slash, but since then it has been a little, they've been threatened very, very likely at the front. It is going to be a 1-2 for NLR, a fantastic team result as the Reapers gets fast this lap on the final lap. Smalley crosses the line in third. I expect he will keep that place, but for the time being, provisionally Slash and Francie Fro finish third and fourth as the penalties will fly in. Dennis will be ruining. He could have easily finished 3 seconds would have easily taken him. He would have finished sixth, so he'll be disappointed to lose sixth place on the last lap with that penalty. Well, look, a couple of drivers just filtering through. Action-packed race. There was a lot of incidents that took place up and down, but I guess the most important thing is that we got through it, and that was the main thing today.
Yeah, we definitely got through it. As Maverick steals the fastest lap on the softs with a 1:30 there, and yeah, first points for Ecos as well. They got a nice P6 there from Ecos Shifters, so they'll be happy with that. But yeah, NLR P1 and P2, and your driver of the day in game is the TRT driver, is Smalley 1310. So France is finally completed after a week of interruption, as someone's given out free copies of F1 2021.
Not sure you want to do that.
No. In a month's, 3 weeks now, we on the 15th of December, myself and Graham will be returning back in EML League 2, and we are departing from France in Paul Ricard to the hills in Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring.
Yes, indeedy. Before the holidays, but we'll run through the order here one last time. It is Felix who's won the race ahead of the Reapers, then 1-2 for NLR. Slash then in third ahead of Francie Fro in fourth. Smalley then in fifth. I suspect his penalty will be removed. He might get that podium, but until then he is in fifth. Ecos Shifters then had a very tumultuous race at Ecos Shifters. I counted at least 2 spins, so he did pretty well. All he's considered to end up in sixth place. He may wonder what could have been, possibly could have easily been on that podium himself. Dennis then, having fought at the front for most of the race, to be fair, in that third, fourth spot. The gamble really paid off in the end, to be fair to him. You'd have to say, soft to mediums. He finishes P7. Hecht, again, should have been more for Dennis, for him. Hecht finishes in 8th. Mr. Pop, up and down from him. He finishes 9th, having started from 4th. WR Gott then in 10th. Positron in 11th. NSR Thomas in 13th. Maverick stealing fastest lap by 4/10 there in the end. You can see how close those two NLR drivers were at the end of the day. Just in terms of the lap time there between Maverick and Felix. Who we got? It was Reapers was the quicker one. Welsh Maldonado in 14th. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Luke in 15th. Pariah 16th. Brett 17th. Faust 18th, Combi 19th, Christian 20th, couple of retirements. So I got confused. I thought it was only I thought it was only a few tenths between, a few hundredths between Felix and the Reapers, but it's a 31.9 for Felix and a 30.9 for the Reapers. So that was my confusion. But look, I would say on the whole of things, perfect week for NLR in that regard. They should go to the top of the standings. So big statement, you'd have to say, wasn't it, from NLR, and yes, the likes of TTG, Esports Wales Tan. They'll be looking to send some sturdy lineups to try and make some of that ground back, because that was a big statement win.
Yeah, and that's it for this evening. And in 3 weeks' time, on the 15th of December, on the Wednesday, we will be back for round number 5 in Spielberg for the Red Bull Ring in Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix. But don't worry, we still have action here on League Racing TV. We've got TTML as usual weekly on a Thursday, a Friday, and a Sunday from F1 to F5. This week they're at the Hungaroring after having the first sprint race in Imola last week, and I think myself and Graham can definitely agree it was a bit of a hectic one in the sprint and the race. You've also got BNLR, their league runs on here as well, so you're never short of any of the action here on League Racing TV, so do hit that like button and do subscribe. But from myself and Graham, we'll be back on the 15th of December when we go racing in Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix.